we'd like to, on behalf of the organizer, have Mr. Keiichi Aritomo, Executive Director of FinCity Tokyo, to deliver words of greeting.
Thank you for the introduction. My name is Aritomo. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us from early in the morning. For the next 10 minutes, I would like to talk about the beauty of this event, what's amazing about this event. Before I do so, let me introduce FinCity Tokyo very briefly. Roughly put, what is it that the organization is engaged in? Tokyo's ecosystem, its positive aspects as well as challenges. We are an organization that communicates the pros and the challenges of the ecosystem, and to receive honest feedbacks about the system that we have, and a very competent, highly skilled financial human resources. We would like to attract them to Tokyo. Fourthly, as a result, because we have identified a number of challenges in the form of policies, the government, the ruling parties, relevant ministries and agencies, to them we're going to make policy proposals based on the challenges identified. In some way, when that leads to policy changes, we're going to communicate that as well. We are a semi-government, semi-private sector organization, and we are supported by so many members. There are official members who have voting rights. There are those associate members who do not have voting rights. What's interesting is that 70% of funding for our organization comes from a TMG, Tokyo Metropolitan Government, and yet TMG only has one vote. That is how it's determined. And corporations who have joined us newly last year includes Brookfield. Brookfield joined as an official member with a voting right. Alliance Bernstein as well is an official member. So foreign affiliated asset managers, as we look to build the financial ecosystem, they are joining us as drivers. And so among the social corporation in Japan, I think we are quite innovative in that regard. We have lots of universities as members. They are not with us academically. They are members of ours as investors and issuers, which is also something new for FinCity Tokyo. Today's theme is Emerging Manager Program, EMP. Tokyo Asset Management Forum actually is older than a FinCity Forum. It was in November 2018 when we started. Kudo-san of TMG, we tried to come up with a name for the event, Tokyo EMP Forum. Let's call the event Tokyo EMP Forum. Back then, no one understood what EMP was. Tokyo Emerging Market, is that what that stands for? People asked, and so EMP was not recognized as a term. So we came up with Tokyo Asset Management Forum. That was the name that we decided on, thinking that people would understand that name. So we had to give up on using the word EMP in the title. But we set up another event called Jazz EMP, Jazz Emerging Musicians program that I'm working on with Tomomi-san, and that became more famous than this. And on the cover page of Nikkei, EMP-related articles are now carried, and so times have changed. So EMP, every year, we conduct a survey among global asset owners. Initially, people did not trust us, perhaps, and they did not respond to our survey. But of late, I think they have started to respond to our surveys. Not only would they respond to our surveys, they are promoting their staff internally, utilizing the results of our surveys. With the help of Visual Alpha, we were successful in interviewing 18 asset managers. And what's interesting here is that asset owners who are largest in the most advanced markets, we have been able to interview most of them, but Japan's asset managers you have yet to cover in our interviews. AUM of these asset managers amounts to $3.3 trillion. And, well, how large is it? It's 4 times the size of the Japanese government's budget, to put things in perspective. So we did interviews to these asset managers as to how they are looking at emerging managers. So what is the point here? So asset owners, they have dedicated EMP teams, and smaller family offices who are smaller, they do not have dedicated teams, but vis-a-vis emerging managers, they are active in allocating their assets. And so the EM's definition, this may not be new, but in terms of public instruments, $1 billion, up to $1 billion, that would be the threshold for private funds, funds 1, 2, and 3. If they have up to fund 3, they are referred to as emerging managers. And this page, what is interesting about this is that to Japanese investors and asset owners, I ask what they think about EMPs. And the first response is that, it's because of the rules that they have difficulty engaging with EMPs regulations. It's misunderstanding. Overseas asset owners, why are they commissioning asset management to EMPs or EMs? That's because of performance target. Inflation plus 4%. Up until last year, it was inflation plus 8%. So unless return is 12% or higher, the CIO will be fired. And so they're after return. And as a result, they engage with emerging managers. They're not trying to save emerging managers. They're just trying to survive themselves, trying to raise their investment performance. And 88%. What does this mean? Internally, in-house, this is the ratio of in-house investment. 88% of asset owners are looking for EMs, 150 plus. On average, asset owners are meeting and interviewing 150 plus emerging managers. Sometimes it's 200. So if we have 200 working days a year, almost every day an asset owner meets with at least one emerging manager. And 44% of asset owners, if it's under a certain threshold, they do not need to go to their investment committee. They have their own authority to hire an emerging manager under their discretion. This is the ticket size. In the case of public market, $50 million. Private market, there's 15 and 50, 15 versus 50. So private is smaller than the public, but by Japanese standards, it's a sizable ticket size. And from this point onward, are you interested in Japanese emerging managers? And most of them said yes, or sorry. All of them, 100% said that they have interest in Japanese EMs. What's interesting is that public, well, mainly in the public market, but in the private market, it's broken down into buyout type and venture type. Venture type. So allocating to Japanese venture capitals, that's so limited. The reason is Japanese startups are way too small, or venture capitals are too small. As I said earlier, Ticket size is 15 million. If you have 15 million, you have an IPO. So there's a mismatch, if you will. And so I think we need to scale up the investment environment here in Japan. You want to fund, but the way in which to do so is very difficult because the amount of funding is too small. And criteria for choosing EMs, here's a list. And there's no track record listed because asset owners are not looking for track records. Naturally, they look at the backgrounds of team members, what kind of experiences do they have. But would they scrutinize EM's track record, and based on that, would they decide whether to hire them or not? No. They are forward-looking. So rather than engage in an exercise to review their past record, they look at the future potential. And barriers in investing in Japanese EMs, I'm running out of time. And here it says communication. It's not about language. What is at the top is not language, it's communication. And Japanese emerging managers, relatively, they're good in English, but their communication is not forthcoming or proactive. When asked, they would respond, but in order to actively build a long-term relationship, they're not engaging, and that is seen as a problem. And second comes quality, and that's the team's quality. So with that, I would like to wrap up today. We would like to introduce you to the select EMs that we have chosen. And I do hope that you will have an opportunity to develop better understanding of them today. Thank you very much.